for the tea
Back to school to prove to Dad that I'm not a fool.
A package that wasn't as competitive as we had all hoped. There was that big hope to be as quick as Max, a little bit better. Exposed a weakness of mine, a weak spot of mine. My driving style exposed a weakness of mine, a weak spot of mine to drive fast. COVID started to wear off. To be honest, I never wanted to be in Formula One.
Let's go, man! I got it!
It's backseat drivers time. Good evening and welcome to Backseat Drivers number 25 for 2023. We've got a really special show lined up for you tonight. We're all very prepared to talk about Max's win in Nashville. Wait, Max didn't win in Nashville because it was IndyCars and he doesn't compete in that. But to talk about that crazy topic and many more, we've got Matt.
I mean, he'll be in IndyCars next year, Dave. Then we can talk about him 24/7.
Just for some fun.
He's gonna enter every sport and just win.
Well, we'll get Rob on, and then I've actually just had a bit of a thought here. But hi, Rob.
Hey, I like finally read one of my intro notes.
It only took 25 weeks.
Yeah. No, Max is racing Formula D next year.
Formula Drift.
Yeah.
Is that because he loves the D?
He loves the D.
What I was thinking, though, just then, I had this amazing thought. He's that far ahead in the Formula One Championship. Like, next year, he could, say, pick and choose. Like, he probably would have to do the whole IndyCar Championship because you just have to there. But with Formula One, he could say, oh, well, there's both races are on this weekend. I can sit this one out because I'm that far ahead in the championship. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Indy 500? Just do that instead of Monaco?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I would actually like to see that because how cool would it be if he actually won the two championships in 1 year?
Well, I mean, Nigel's got a special record at the moment where he was concurrently the champion of both. Because the Formula One, the IndyCar Championship was wrapped up and the Formula One Championship hadn't been won in 93 at that point.
Yeah.
But Max could probably actually do it in the same year at the moment.
Yeah.
And if Palou leaves Ganassi,
he's got
straight in there. Yeah.
So you reckon they can follow out? Red Bull just go, join our team and then send over Max in a part of a global conspiracy to let Max win everything?
Yeah.
Do you reckon he could do Formula E as well at the same time?
Why would he?
I don't know why he wants to.
Because then he can rub it into
Nick the Slow.
I've already forgotten his name. Yeah, Nick the Crashes.
Nick forgotten.
Nick forgotten.
Dan Ricciardo's sea warmer.
Yeah.
I'm just keeping it warm for you, sir.
And that's what Checo's thinking right now too.
Checo's got a seat for next year.
Well,
I don't know.
Dan doesn't yet.
Checo has a seat. Yeah, he doesn't have a Red Bull seat because, as we know, Red Bull seats are musical chairs. And at any moment, Marco can just grab that chair away from you and can slip into the floor.
On a little side note, there was a time where it was. I'm trying to think. Was it Roberto Moreno? It was with Benetton when the whole trying to get Schumacher into the team.
Yeah,
and they already had Nelson Piquet, and they're trying to get Schumacher in for the rest of the season. And the driver who was under contract at the time, which I'm pretty sure was Moreno, the contract said that he had to have a car for the weekend.
Yeah.
So they turned up in the garage. No, well, what they did, they're like, that race car's for Piquet, that race car's for Schumacher, and that chassis over in the corner with no wheels or engine or anything, that's your car for the weekend. I don't think it actually flew, but it basically said something about driving a chassis for the team or whatever. And they're like, well, that's your chassis to drive. You can sit in it and, Sure, it won't go out on track and you won't be racing, but yeah, there's something around the wording. Yeah, there's a car for you.
You have a seat. Do you reckon they'll give Checo a high chair with a F1 seat in it and go, you can sit in the pits and you can watch us as the car leaves, and then we have a Red Bull seat for you. You know, like in the start of the Simpsons, where Maggie's driving the car and it's not her, it's just her sitting next to Dan Ricciardo.
Just give him one of the seats on like the pit wall or something.
That's true.
Yeah. Big race this weekend though. Three big races this weekend. No. Trucks on Saturday.
Trucks, NASCAR, and whatever Max has entered in.
Yeah. What's he going to be driving this week?
Bicycles.
Virtual
yeah.
Wait, does he play Yuki in the Powerboat Challenge? Like, does Max play the winner?
No, Yuki did the monster trucks versus him.
Oh, he did too, and he lost in Equal Machinery.
Yeah. Does Perez ever do any of these things?
That's what I was going to say. Perez, every time they have the 3-person challenge, like the one they did recently where it was Max was blindfolded, Checo was doing the pedals, and Dan was steering. Yeah. It sort of looked very obvious that Checo was like, you go in the corner, Max and I are going to have like chats and have fun. And every so often the camera's just going to move. It's going to be like, no, we don't need to see you, Checo. and then Checo's always like, I'm here too. They're like, yeah, sure you are. Every time there's and the Powerboats one and the one where I think they were in Melbourne, where Dan was giving them the Australian quiz. It was basically him and Max just talking, and every so often Checo would be like, I'm here too. And they're like, sure you are, buddy.
Does anyone like Checo?
Mexico does.
Yeah, Mexicans.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah.
Sadistic people who battle for the underdog.
Oh, you know who else would like him? Ferrari fans, because they've got that delusion that he's going to go good this race, and then he lets them down, and then they're like, welcome to the club.
The funny thing was, Checo was a Ferrari junior at one point. And then ended up at McLaren.
That explains everything, Dave. You should have told me this age. Now I understand why he keeps falling into the wall. He's like, what would Ferrari do? Just slide tackle into the tires.
The race strategy is too good. I have to crash myself to wreck the race.
At least when Leclerc crashes, he's like going 110%.
Yeah.
Whereas
when Checo does it, it's embarrassingly slow.
Yeah.
It's like
Press does it on a warm-up lap in practice 1, 5 minutes after they start, or driving out to the grid.
But also Checo does it in the most embarrassing ways of, hey, no one's ever seen the underbelly of this Red Bull car that Newey spent a lot of time on. How about I just take it sideways into the best track of all the tracks to crash into? I'm going to do it at the one that involves it lifting it, 30 meters into the air.
Yeah.
You must get penalized for that, right? Like there's like bringing the team in. Yeah. Like there's not picking up points. That's one thing, right? But if Newey comes up to you and goes, "Hey, Checo, you see that stuff under the thing? That's 40 years of my knowledge there. I didn't. I don't give it away to nothing." Toto's right now. He's popping a champagne bottle. He's spraying it all over George because he's like, "I've seen it all now." All he has to do now is buy one Red Bull Aerodynamics team member who can basically explain what's going on there to a slight degree, and then they've got a slightly better car. They don't need Newey. They just need someone that sort of understands the grand picture. Not like maybe third senior. Throw them a truckload of money and go, see these pictures? They're your mates under the car. Explain what this squiggly bit here does. They're going to understand most of it.
Yeah, which I think that's what a couple of other teams are doing as well. Like I have heard, I can't remember their names basically because they're a couple down the rung. But as well with the cost cap stuff, that then Red Bull can't, promote these guys any further. So yeah, there's some serious poaching going on, kind of, or Mercedes and Ferrari are really trying to poach some of those couple down the rung.
If I was like third aero guy, obviously you can't directly approach them. I'd just be like, LinkedIn, open to opportunities. But also I'd have a second LinkedIn account called Smatthew, and I'm definitely not a Red Bull engineer, but you can send me unsolicited messages about your Ferrari team that I could work for.
I think there's I think there's some definite approaches happening where it's not quite secretive. It's quite out in the open that certain teams are aiming.
At my old job, when we had anti-poaching laws in IT, you couldn't basically say, hey, Dave, come work for us. It would be, hey, Dave, you've got a nice resume. Why don't you just leave it here at this lunch table, and I might just take it and show it to Rob. He can't give you a job, but like if something came up conveniently in 6 months' time and he just happens to have it on file, well, you get a job. Or in this case, if you conveniently get a job, say, I don't know, February of 2024, a couple of weeks before we start doing some real driving in a little motor car, maybe you could come along for the ride. How does 6 figures sound? Even 7. We've got a lot of money now.
Yeah, I think the hard bit is the because you've got the gardening leave stuff now, where you can't just chop and change teams. Where there is that, where I think even lower level stuff, it's like 6 months before they're
each one would have a certain level, right? Like a Newey would have like 4 or 5 years kind of thing, and then you work your way down. It's more and more months, right?
Yeah, I think it depends on their contracts, but I think now, because there was the issue where all of the Ferrari people got hired by Haas to do Haas work, apparently, and then went back to Ferrari magic, like when Haas were outside of the at the time the aero restriction wind tunnel run stuff. So like 200 Ferrari employees got employed by Haas for 6 months and did all their aero testing and then went back to Ferrari, but they didn't take anything with them. It was all above board. And it was, they didn't take any laptops or anything with them, but it's hard to judge what's in their head. So
I can tell you what's in Ferrari's head, Dave. It's 2 monkeys. And
it's a fucking shit show.
It's 2 monkeys. They've both got hammers, and they're just both hitting the same wheel, and the car's just spinning its wheels, going nowhere.
So I think now even like the lower level employees are still like 6 months from when kind of they quit to when they can start the new.
But
job.
Also, would you leave Red Bull, which is currently in its, as Lewis calls it, years of domination, to go for a potential shit show at Ferrari or Mercedes? Who knows what's going on there?
Well, once again, though, I think the hard thing is, like, say previously at Red Bull, you could work under Adrian Newey, fair enough, like you never get the top job, but you might have, got remunerated, like you might get your $1 million a year or whatever, even if you're number 2, number 3, whatever. They would have still been paid very high. But now with the salary cap or the cost cap, there is that limit where you're going to find these jobs will hit a ceiling at,
But it's also depending on how much
grand. Did I cut out for a bit there?
Yeah.
You might these jobs will hit that ceiling at say 150 grand, and then you won't earn any higher because you've got your Newey and a couple of other guys on the big dollars, and you can't lift all those other guys. So then they might go to a McLaren that's not as strong, but you might get your 300,000-400,000 to go there for a more senior position.
I guess, because if you could say you learned under Newey for 5 years, you could probably walk into most teams and say, I've been there for 5 years. Give me my, I won't be number one, but I'll at least be fairly high up because I have, I have 5% of Adrian Newey's brain, which is probably enough to get you a fairly high spot in most teams.
Second in the World Championship, probably.
Yeah. Unless you want to be challenged, you join you join Alpha or something just for fun. Give me lots of money, and I'll make this team a mid-table team.
Yeah. Well, with Audi, you're talking about Alfa Romeo.
One of those bottom scratching.
Yeah. So with Sauber, with Audi taking them over, there is a potential there that they will have proper investment and they will start going in the right.
Will they start
direction.
poaching then, or do you reckon they'll start poaching 2025 to get the gardening leave out of the way?
They're already.
Oh, they've already started poaching.
Yeah, could be because of that, and they were probably quite lucky that, say, Seidel, who is running the show, they'd already lined him up, and McLaren basically said, "Well, fuck it, if you're out the door, go now. We've already, kind of had a plan in place if you were going to leave because we thought that's what was going to happen. We'll just put the plan in place now and you go and do your thing rather than have you hang around for 2 years."
Seems to work anyway.
Yeah. But see, that would have been stuff that Seidel had kind of put in because they decided, but they decided quite early last year that the direction was wrong before the start of this year.
Yeah, true.
So
wasn't that after he left?
No, that would have been before because it was at the start of the year. Yeah. So they pulled the pin on, say, the 23 car in, I think it was October, and then started on the new 23 car.
Yeah.
So they basically went, we're in the shit here. Stop. Let's start again. And then we'll just start the year with this heap of shit that we know is going to be crap. But
when's AlphaTauri going to do that?
Yeah, well, see, they're in a weird holding pattern now.
Points.
No, Yuki can score points.
Yeah, so Dan will get them easy.
just like he did at McLaren at the back.
Well, he's still got a fair few points.
I believe
just not as many as Lando.
Who was the last person to get a win in a McLaren? What? Oh,
Daniel Maldonado.
I was going to be a smartass and say Pato Award.
Yeah, true. Oh, actually, hang on. No, it wouldn't be then.
What? Yeah, Pato would be the last McLaren winner, wouldn't he?
Hang on.
Not even Lando.
Or did they win in Formula?
I'm just checking.
That's not real racing though, so it doesn't really count.
Still a development team for the McLaren Formula One.
Oh yeah, Dave. What's with the is AlphaTauri just going to take the old car and go? It worked well for them.
No. So what? Haas buys as much Ferrari gear as what you're allowed to under the rules. So Red Bull years ago, because they were using a second-hand car, essentially, and then the rule makers decided that's not fair. You have to build your own car, or it was more a few teams like Williams were complaining that it wasn't fair. You have to build your own car. So then Red Bull kind of went, right, they're two separate entities. AlphaTauri is going to, do everything in-house. And then it is a fully fledged Formula One team. If it has to, if we sell it or whatever, you can buy it as a proper going concern. It does everything itself, which now they've decided, because of the cost of running the two teams, etc., AlphaTauri should be buying as much stuff off Red Bull as they possibly can. So we don't have to go out and design like two lots of suspension. And at the moment, the engine and gearbox will be shared.
Yeah, so I was going to say, if I'm AlphaTauri and you're Red Bull, and I say, hey, give us the RB19, what's missing from it that you're not allowed to get off Red Bull?
Well, you still have to do your own chassis. But there's things like it's suspension and things like that are probably the main ones, which you're with a lot of them say, I think even Aston runs the Mercedes rear suspension. They might have actually changed that this year, but I think in prior Aston had always run the Mercedes rear suspension as part of having the engine and gearbox and that, so that it was all kind of come as one unit. But there's the suspension is probably the big one, where I think AlphaTauri was doing like the complete suspension of that themselves. The only thing, they were obviously the engine and the gearbox.
But if you're getting last year's model, isn't that technically not as good as, the RB20?
No, well, they'll have the RB20 suspension. They won't be like the actual chassis will still have to be an AlphaTauri. But then because you've got to put the pickup points and whatever at the same, because it's the same suspension and that, then you start being able to follow the philosophy a bit better.
Because I was going to say, if you can get an RB19 or an RB19 light, and then chuck a Daniel Ricciardo in it, who's driven it a bit now, he'll start picking up all the points, won't he, Rob?
What?
Well, the interesting situation was when you could run, say, the customer cars, the thing was, like, that kind of started with the BAR and Japan wanting to keep Taku in the series, and they started Super Aguri. And then I think that was 04 and 05. They ran, it might have been 05 and 06. So they ran the 04 and then the 05 BARs. And in 06, BAR designed a fucking terrible car, but the 05 car was really good. And Super Guru was using the 05 car, which was pretty good, and actually beating the full-on factory team with the year-old car.
Is that like Fernando and Mercedes right now?
Yeah, kind of like that. And then you had, would have been 08 with Toro Rosso and Red Bull, where Toro Rosso was actually using the current Red Bull. But at the time, because they just switched to the Renault engines, which were still a bit shit at the time, and Toro Rosso was running the Ferrari engines at the time, which were a whole heap better. So you had Toro Rosso in the same chassis, but with a really good engine. So that was when Seb won the first Red Bull race in a Toro Rosso.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas then Williams and that had a cry because these teams were running on absolute shoestring budgets and doing quite reasonably.
So Red Bull's got a history of skirting around budgets and stuff by the sounds of it.
Oh, they love the grey area of the rules.
I mean, all the teams do. I was watching a thing today, Dave, about the early days of Penske and skirting around rules with what was it? They had a petrol, the manual petrol thing. So they built one that was 20 foot high because gravity would make the petrol. Yeah, the tower would fall in quicker. And they said, you can't have it as high. So that's fine. We'll just make the nozzle bigger. And then there's footage of half of it not going in. It's just brilliant.
Yeah.
And like shaving off paint in an acid bath.
I think that was actually the acid. Wasn't that making everything thinner, like all the panels?
And that? It would basically shave. They shaved up to like, I think something like 250 pounds at one stage because they just went extreme and because you couldn't tell. And then they had the two-car trick where they're like, here's the fat car, it's Matt. And then they're like, here's the tiny Rob, Dave over here. And they're like, oh, that car's fine. And then quickly do a qualifying lap in the Davenville. And they're like, we need to weigh your car. And I'm like, bring out Matt again. Oh, this car's super heavy. You're totally legit. Carry on.
I think
Then he got busted and basically left.
that I keep cutting out.
Yeah. Didn't was it like in the DTM or one of those series or BTCC sometime like the 80s or something, they were supposed to build a certain amount of cars. And it was like Alfa Romeo, I think.
They built 200.
They built 200 or something. They're supposed to build 400 or something. And they showed them a bunch in this car park. And then let's go have lunch first.
Yeah, and then they moved them all to the next car park.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that was the Group B rally with Lancia.
Yeah. Okay. I knew it was some sort of.
But there was a lot of companies that did that kind of stuff where it's like, Dave, we need 100 cars, and you're like, I have 50 here, but why don't we go to this all expensive paid lunch for no apparent reason? And then I quickly go, hey, Rob, move those cars real quick. Just do it now. I don't care. Make them look different.
Well, there was on two ones. The VN Group A, because you had to build 500, and they'd actually convinced, well, we're going to build 500, but we've only built so many, and they convinced them that we're going to do it. Don't worry, and they never, because they weren't selling. Like Holden dealers had them for like 3-4 years later. They couldn't even.
What the VN?
The VN Group A's at the time.
Well, that one was the plastic.
That was the red one.
Okay.
Oh,
that wasn't too bad looking.
Yeah, my mate had the VN, the regular VN.
So they stopped at 302, but because they couldn't sell them, and they're like, we'll do 500. No worries, let us race.
Good.
But
they
there
wish
was also
they had the other 200 sitting in a garage somewhere now.
Nowadays, it might have kept the Holden company going. There was also the Alfa Romeo in the BTCC, and this is where they started, like in Super Touring, you couldn't have aero kits on the car unless the car came with an aero kit from the factory. So what they did, they made like 500 cars and put the aero kit in the boot of the car.
Yeah.
And so people would go and buy their Alfa Romeo, whatever, 156 or whatever it was, and be like, what the fuck's all this plastic in the boot kind of thing?
Shut up,
they're like, these aero kits came with the car.
Dave, were they actual aero kits, or were they like the old spoilers people used to make in the early 2000s? 2 bits of plastic and a couple of screws and going, shut up, aero kit.
Well, they were pretty rudimentary. I think you could actually fit them, and then there was like 2 settings on them as well. There was like the setting that you could actually drive them around, and then you could like slide some like screws or something, and then it would slide out and produce a heap of downforce.
On a scale of aerodynamics of 1 to Adrian Newey, they're more down the 1 scale?
Oh, they'd be like a 0.1. Yeah. It's very, but see, none of the other cars in there had any aero on them.
Yeah.
So, and then they came out with like a front splitter and rear wing, and all of a sudden, it just opened the floodgates.
Brilliant. I do like hearing the stories of you had to make 500 of them and then just doing the bare minimum. Basically, I'm surprised no one just painted pictures in the background and went, "What's that? What's that over there, Rob?" Oh, there's 600 cars. Can we walk up to them? No.
Homologation racing was the best. Like
it was.
You end up with cool road cars that you could go buy. The racing in the races was usually pretty decent.
Horrendous.
Rob, I don't think it was decent. Even I enjoyed it. It was basically just what was it? Don't die. Drive this at 400 kilometers an hour.
Some of them were great. That and the races where there was no real rules, like Can-Am and what was the ones
the
with
rally
like the Capri, the Ford Capri, Zach Speed?
Oh, not, but they're more like the sports sedan kind of.
Yeah. And they had the Audi as well. Where were they? They were.
It was Group B
they were
for the
early
rally one,
DTM.
wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the insane stuff.
Which was basically, can you fit this massive turbo on the back of this tiny car? Well, let's find out. We'll find out together.
Here we go.
Bob, you're driving this odd turbo car for no reason.
The IMSA Camel Series.
Camel Series?
Okay.
Camel Series, yeah. So it was...
Everything was sponsored by cigarettes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The old
Cigarettes,
Stanchions and
good for
Hedges Formula One.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to have cigarette sponsorship on here? Because
I'm not sure what the advertising rules are on YouTube.
I'm going to take it back up again, I guess, if we're making some money. pay for it?
I think, Rob, I'd be happy with any sponsorship.
Yeah, true. We got a hat. We got a hat. So anyone else want to sponsor us hats?
Yeah, that wasn't really a sponsorship for the show, though. That was just people giving away free hats.
Yeah,
we'll take anything really.
And I already gave my hat away to Boovie, so because Boovie missed that, I've got my other hats.
Yeah.
My team.
That's a very fancy.
Boovie doesn't have enough hats.
No,
he needs hats.
Now, Rob.
Yes.
You gave us some homework this week.
I did give us some homework.
Because it's the mid-season thing, we're having mid-season performance reviews, much like
my
Checo's
dog ate my homework.
What?
My dog ate my homework.
Dave, you're going to be like Checo going into Horner's office. It's going to be an awkward time for you as everyone else has done their work.
Yeah. Dave just keeps mumbling Dan's name.
I'll just bluff it at the last second.
Yeah. All right then. So Dave,
what are the rules on this?
It was pretty much
explain the rules.
Because this got changed because we decided Matt was going to take way too long explaining 36 people we're going to choose. We whittled it down, top 5 and bottom 3. So top 5 and bottom 3 can be anyone to do with Formula One. So they can be a racing driver, they can be commentator, they can be pit crew,
camera
operator,
Angela.
She's not in there anymore, so you can't.
Well, she was technically there for a little bit, wasn't she?
Not this year.
I mean, I didn't put her in.
She might have done the start of the year, and then
I thought she was at the start.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. That was.
If only we had a fact checker.
That was 17 Formula something races ago. Max wins ago.
Only
17. That was like 87 Max podiums ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So since you haven't prepared, Dave, I think you should go first.
All right. MVP of the year, Adrian Newey. That's pretty simple.
All right. Yeah. Okay. You're supposed to count them up from 5.
Yeah, I think you got to start from 5, Dave.
Well, I thought it was easier just to name number 1.
You can go backwards, Dave.
But they're also going to be. They're also going to be. You got to want them to be in your top
5.
Yeah.
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 Adrian Newey. He's the most valuable player in Formula One. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Max, number 2.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he's got the best car, but he's doing a pretty good job of it.
Yeah.
He's making the most of it.
Checo's the second coming, and Max is absolutely destroying him. So, yeah.
What's the title of that porno?
You'd have to put Ricardo in there for making a miraculous comeback.
For Netflix.
Nope. No.
I think Dave's going to get bottom 3.
The internet conveniently cut out there while Rob gave me shit for that choice. Fernando Alonso. Just because he's taken the trolling to a new level.
Yes.
Yeah. His driving is pretty good.
How many is that? 4 or 5?
I'm at 4.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of a 5th. Actually, Piastri.
Picked an Aussie that's actually doing something good.
Well, I'm actually pleasantly surprised at how well he's doing. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't expect him to be at that kind of level with Norris that quickly.
Yeah.
I thought it would have taken him a good seat. Like, I expected him to do well, but yeah, he's actually doing really well.
And your bottom three people you don't like.
Whoever was the dickhead who got rid of Bonotto.
Yeah.
Because that's Ferrari the whole.
Ferraris, the whole thing is still a fucking shambles. They should be doing a lot better. Just Alpine. Fuck me, you've got two uninspired drivers. You've got rid of all of the top management. Fuck me. Yeah, and most of the time the car's got a shit paint job as well. So
we all know paint jobs can.
Yeah, it's just. What if I got one more to bag?
One more.
Unpopular opinion, Helmut Marko.
Ooh.
Because fuck me, like he employed Nick DeVries.
I mean, he did. He was the one to pick Nick.
He was the one who pushed that decision.
One day say he's a one-eyed supporter of him.
Hey, yeah.
Calm down, Dave.
Buy internet. Hey, I've questioned many years what the fuck's Marco there for nowadays.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's not the you can do a bit more science nowadays rather than just going, I got a good feeling about this kid. Which is good feelings about some of them are not quite good.
Praise Nick DeVries.
Praise Nick. All right. That was easy. Should I go next, or should we let Matt
unleash me?
It's not 40 minutes yet, so
yeah. So you'll knock yours over, and then it will be 40 minutes in, and then it's a free for all.
Yeah. Matt's 40 minutes
I think you'll be surprised at my top five.
That's 40 minutes to go through 3 points.
Well, I'll go then.
All right,
go.
Number 5. I'm bringing in Yuki.
Why?
Just because he's just a pleasure to listen to on the radio. Just love hearing him screaming.
I'll allow it.
He's got a personality like no one else in the field, which I just like it. It's good. Number 4, I'm going to go a TV presenter, James Hinchcliffe, because he's I got a man crush. I think I just like listening to him talk.
We don't get to see him.
You do on YouTube on the warm up.
Okay, because I was going to say
you don't see him much, but yeah,
I only see him from the IndyCar coverage.
Yeah, that too. Number 3, Zach Brown. I like his snarky remarks at people.
Zach.
Yeah.
Well,
is
it snarkiness or jealousy that he's not a part of the cool kids?
Both.
Okay.
Both.
I think at the start of the year, like it seemed very jealousy, whereas now it's like, no, you guys.
Yeah, we've done it.
We're back in this fight. Yeah. Dick everyone who wrote me off.
All our other racing teams are doing real bad because they spend way too much time on our Formula 1 project.
Yeah. We just need to employ another 40, 50 people for the IndyCar team.
Yeah.
To work on IndyCar.
Shut up, mate. This is an IndyCar. It just looks like an F1 car.
No Formula 1 here. What's a Formula 1?
A Formula 1. Number 2... I don't know about this. I was going to change it to Piastri, but I was going to put Albon. He seems comfortable at this team. I think Red Bull was just a bad place for him, and he just seems to.
I think the hard thing, he got promoted too early.
Yeah, and it was just like he doesn't seem like the kind of person who does well under lots of stress, which Red
Yeah.
Bull would be. And my number one is his boss, James Vowles. I'm not sure if you've ever watched any of his Instagram videos, him explaining the weekend and things that went right, went wrong. He just kind of gives you an air of confidence. Like, listening to him talk is just like, you've got this shit under control. You're going to have confidence you're actually going to pull this team out of where it is and actually go somewhere.
Well, I really like, apparently, like, he came into Williams or whatever, he hasn't made rash decisions or anything. He's been we need to sort out what's going on. He's walked around, asked all the questions, right?
Yeah.
And apparently one of the first things he was like, right, we need to get Pat Fry's top of my list of who we want to get across. And he's worked away at that, and he's got Pat from Alpine.
Yeah.
Which, he's actually seen the value of getting someone with experience.
Yeah.
Unlike Luca De Mayo, who's just like, you didn't do it in 6 months. You can all go.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it seems like he's doing a good job of actually changing the culture there. And the happier people are, the better they'll do. And so I'm putting number one. I really like him. I think he's going to do well for him.
Yeah. It will be a long-term project because there's a lot of building to do there. But, I mean, we've seen progress this year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're moving up.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, bottom.
He's the trickiest one for Rob. 3 people that he hates more than the other 50 other people in F1.
How to pick only 3.
I know.
I think he had to cut it down from 100, so that was what he's doing all day.
Well, I did have two people the same in there.
Dan Ricciardo twice.
Dan's not in anywhere.
And Danny Rick, that other Aussie.
Dan hasn't done anything worth of note to put him in anywhere.
Yeah.
Number 3, Dave's internet.
It's a bit disappointing tonight, isn't it?
It's ruined F1 for everybody.
It has. Yeah. It has. Number 2, Ocon, because fucking Ocon. No one likes him. I don't think. Did you see the Formula One where they're getting everyone to guess or pick a racer who's won a race for the letters of the alphabet? Yeah,
I haven't actually seen this yet.
Oh, and Lando's just like, I'm not going to say his name. And just totally ignored him. And then when they mentioned it to him, he's like, yeah, I don't care. I'm like, you're pretty much saying what everyone feels. Number 1, with a bullet, Max Verstappen. He's making this whole series boring as fuck.
I 100% agree with you, Rob.
Is it Max Verstappen or is it Checo Perez's fault?
I reckon if Max wasn't there, Checo would be leading by a lot more. I reckon he wouldn't be so stressed trying to beat Max.
Yeah, but if Checo was better, like, remember when Nico Rosberg was paired with Lewis Hamilton and there was a championship fight?
And he beat him
because they were in equal machinery.
Yeah. I'd be happy if there was someone in that
so
seat
imagine if Nico Rosberg came back and took that seat.
It'd be great.
Oh, please don't.
No one. It's no Mercedes.
Dave, you're trying to improve F1, not make it worse.
Yeah.
0 chance.
The problem is Red Bull don't have anyone who would be close to Max.
Dan. Oh, Dan.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't they?
Hang on, how did he? Yeah, only time Dan went good against another driver in the last 10 years was Ocon, and it's fucking Ocon. He's number 2 on my list.
He stacked up pretty well against Max.
Yeah, when Max was like a junior.
Yeah.
When Max just came out of karting.
And I think I'm just looking back at the McLaren results. It seems in the win column, Dan had one where Lando's still none.
Pastor Maldonado won in a Williams. Ocon won as well.
So something else that, Lando Norris has
yet to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look how close Piastri is to Norris, and look how close Dan wasn't.
But Dan still got a win. And as Vin Diesel said, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile, a win's a win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a blemish on McLaren's history right there.
No, I tell you what's a blemish, the tattoos that Zach's got on his arm that he'll never forget. Every morning he sees that. Every morning. He gets up. He's happy. He's like, today's going to be a different day. Looks at the mirror. He's like, oh, fuck.
Dan.
That's my $20 million divorce mistake right there.
Dan Maldonado.
Dan Donato.
Dan Donato.
And then he'll look at the, Earhart Jr.'s NASCAR and go, we did have some good times together. Yeah. And then he'll have a single tear and he'll go off and be like, yell at Oscar, you better be better than the other Aussie. You cost me a lot of money.
Is that why Zach got rid of Dan? Because he dirtied his NASCAR. He soiled it.
Yeah.
It lost resale value.
It's losing value. You took it out of the box.
As someone who's half French, I feel horrified by the way Ricardo abuses our language. Enchanté. Yeah. That's my gripes for the week over.
Okay.
46. Oh, God, I actually went for a lot longer than I should have.
Yeah.
God, I wanted to go to bed tonight. I'm so glad I had my nap before this. Matthew.
All right. Here we
Take us
go.
down.
Matt's top five. Obviously, in number five,
let me open Steam.
Obvious choice, Dan Ricciardo. Everyone's happy he's returned. Netflix is happy he's returned. F1's happy he's returned. America's happy he's returned. Basically, everyone's happy he's returned. Number four, here we go. I'm going to stuff up the second name, but Hannah Schmitz, the Red Bull lead strategist, who's basically making everyone look stupid and could essentially take off half the pit crew, let them play Uno, and they'd probably still win a race. Number three, another Red Bull celebrity, old Callum Nicholas, a.k.a. the man with dreadlocks, who seems to, if he's not making pitbull stops, he's on podcasts telling everyone how great he is and how much fun he has. Number two, everyone's favorite, Martin Brundle, the king of F1. Yes. Basically, he will make or break a celebrity's career if you go on a grid walk. as we've seen with what's her name, Delavine, who decided that Martin was not worth her time, and then everyone decided she was not worth anyone's time.
What about that girl who has 3 horses?
3 horses?
Yeah, something 3 stallions.
Megan the Stallion.
Is it Megan 3 Stallions? I thought it was some like ye olde name.
Rob's an old person.
Megan 3 Stallions.
And obviously, number one is the god of F1, Adrian Newey, who have basically we found out speaks 2 languages, wind and English. Also, I've worked out that if Red Bull lose more wind tunnel time, they're basically just going to get Adrian to blow a straw over the car, and he'll still fix it. The man is number one by way too far. Essentially, I feel like he just makes up side missions for himself. Like, he sees the Mercedes car with no side pods, goes back to Mr. Ginger Spice and go, look, I don't need to do anything this couple of weeks. I'm going to design a new side pod. Horner's probably like, I don't even care. No. Jerry's birthday's coming up. I'm going to celebrate that. You do what you need to do. Max is going to win. Checo's going to give me a heart attack. I don't even watch him anymore. Do what you like. He could essentially turn up and go, this week I'm going to make a new rear wing. And they're like, no one asked. Because they didn't need to. But anyway, here's a book on how we make a rear wing. I'm going to go off and win us another race. In fact, I'm surprised he doesn't design other cars for like Indy and stuff, just for shits and giggles.
Did I hear you mention Pitbull just before?
The Pit team.
Oh, I thought you said Pitbull.
No, I found out he's an owner of the Trackhouse.
Yeah, he's a NASCAR.
He's a NASCAR.
Lover.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And my bottom three, Rob.
Yes.
Number three, the Miami F1 organizers for just generally being an embarrassment. Don't have LL Cool J. Don't sing out stuff. Don't make little Yuki feel uncomfortable. The man is a treasure. He doesn't need to have a loud American yelling at him. That's why
this guy had Pitbull as a
I am genuinely scared of Las Vegas, the Vegas F1, because that's going to be an absolute shitstorm.
You know it's going to be Miami times 4.
Yeah,
400, Dave. It's going to be.
It's going to be horrible. I'm actually really looking forward to the cheesiness of it.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm going to watch it. I think I'm going to watch it live.
I might actually have a cheese fondue going at the time.
Yes.
To celebrate the cheesiness of it. Is it going to be on like at a reasonable hour for us?
Yeah, I think it actually worked because it's on the Saturday night, so I think it's Sunday morning sometime for us.
Ooh,
I think it's like 10 o'clock on Sunday morning or something.
Yeah, well, I'll have a party here. There'll be bottle service, so bring your credit card.
I thought you were going to say you've got your skirt ready to go and.
Oh yeah, I'll have that too.
Topless bottle service.
Topless bottle.
Number 2, Rob.
Yes.
Is Nico Equal Machinery Rosberg. The man can't take a joke, and he seems to still live in. He still seems to live in 2016. The man is stuck there. He's never.
That was the last thing he ever did.
But if you beat Lewis Hamilton, 7-time questionable champion beater, wouldn't you be like holding on to that for every little thing you can?
But also, he can't take.
Holding on as much as he can. Lewis.
I mean,
I beat you.
The problem is he can't take, like, when people made fun of him about the taking selfies at the pit crew, and when Webber called him Britney, you can tell that he's a very delicate man.
Oh, yeah.
He's a fragile ego. And like you said, the only thing he's got is he beat Lewis Hamilton 1 year and then quit. Didn't he quit shortly afterwards?
Straight away.
So basically he's like, I pulled off this miracle. I'm not doing this again. If I leave now, I look like a champion, and I can jump on a commentary team and tell everyone that I am 2016 world champion. And then when they ask you what happened after that, he goes, I don't know what you're talking about. It's November 2016 now, and will always be that way. I just got crowned champion. What do you mean coronavirus and other things? None of that's happened yet. It's 2016. Now, move aside. I need to play on my PlayStation 3 or 4, whatever came out at this point. And my number 1, bottom 3, is old Ted Kravis. Because he, an absolute waste of space. The man is useless. He, for some reason, he still holds a grudge against Aussie race director Michael, and his love for Lewis is a little too much.
I used to really like Ted, and I thought especially like the Notebook and that after the race was really good.
Maybe he's still all right sometimes, but he's just
it's got hard to watch though, because like basically every time he gets on and he's like, oh, Lewis was robbed of his whatever 6th championship.
Lewis had to start in 9th. That's all Max's fault. Lewis got hit by
Michael Massey didn't make that decision. Back in 2021, Lewis would have qualified on pole for every race.
Basically, Michael Massey is the villain that's changed time and you know, if he didn't do that, Max would have just kept winning, but he's ruined him like psychologically because he has that power, and now that he can never win a race again, and Max should go up for charges because he stole the race. He ran up and like went into his pocket and stole it.
Yeah.
On that website formerly known as Twitter, people used to get on the X. It actually asked me today if I wanted to see people I knew on X. I was like, oh, that's a bit awkward. So, it's their own choice if they want to do things like that. Anyway, back when Hamilton was winning constantly, everyone kept saying it's not the car, it's the driver. It's not the car, it's the driver. Now Max is winning. Everyone's like, oh, it's the driver. It's not the car, it's the driver. But Hamilton, yeah, he's still a good driver, but he's not winning. What's going on? If it's not the car, why isn't Hamilton winning?
Hamilton's getting older, and so he can't react quicker or something.
It's different when it's Hamilton.
Yeah,
but then when Max's car won't be as good in a couple of years, because I'm sure something will change, and he's not winning every race. Is it going to be the car then? Is this like the old Ferrari saying? Is if they win, it's the car. If they lose, it's the driver.
Yeah.
But it's the other way around.
Yeah, in Lewis's eyes, it's if they win, it's the driver. If they lose, it's the car.
Yeah.
Rob, I don't know if you read out Boovy's top 5, but I definitely have them here if you want me to read them out.
Hang on.
We're hanging.
I was going to cosplay.
Oh, hey, Boovy. How's it going?
Yeah, good. All right.
It's everyone's favourite Turkish commentator, Boovy, and not Rob.
Yes. Oh, God, if I had my clippers, I could have got a quick shave and put the goatee going. Yeah, all right. My top 5. Number 5, Naomi Schiff and Natalie Pinkham. Don't ask me why I picked 2 for my top 5, but could not split them. They work well together. Yeah. I like them
Boovy's a F1 pit stop crew. He can't count.
Yes. Number 4, Martin Brundle, GOAT of the F1 commentary team. Loves them. Number 3, hang on, I can't read that properly. Nick Latifi? No, Boovy, you can't have Nick Latifi. I'll just put in Dan Ricciardo because I know how much you love him. Save Drive to Survive. Thanks, Toro Rosso. Number 2, Fernando Alonso, trolling everyone and not giving a shit. Yeah, no, he's good. I'm a little disappointed that Fernando is not doing anything anymore.
He's run out of steam.
No. Number 1, because you're such a Red Bull lover at the moment. Adrian Newey. I can't read what he said afterwards.
Didn't he say honourable number 1, Nicholas Latifi?
Yes.
Or Logan
number equal number 1.
Logan Sargent.
Logan Sargent.
And Guangzhou and one of the Mazepin was his other favourite.
That was last year's picks.
No, but he still holds a special place in Boovy's heart.
Yeah. Bottom 3, number 3, extreme wet tire. Why does it exist? Because it's a piece of shit and everyone knows it.
Well, it's only the wet tire. It's not even extreme wet tire.
No, it's the tire they use until they can put intermediates on.
It's the tire until they start the race.
Yeah. Ferrari race strategists. That's pretty. Yeah. I reckon Sainz will end up being a Ferrari race strategist in the future. He seems to do more from the cockpit than they can.
He's too good.
Yeah, not true.
He'd end up with another team as a race strategist.
He'll be a Red Bull. Number one, sprint weekends. Even though a movie still watches them, I don't like how it splits the weekend.
I hate them so much that I watch them.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I'm the same. But it's really weird how we have qualifying on Friday and then Saturday's something different. And then you go, there's no flow to the weekend.
Yeah, like I've said it before, they should have sprint qualifying, sprint race, normal qualifying, normal race. And you use a sprint race as a testing session for the race. So after they do the sprint, they can do any changes they think will help them in the race.
Yeah.
Because if they get rid of a practice session.
Yeah, but also, like, I've seen you've put in the notes for this week, they're contemplating banning DRS in qualifying.
Yeah.
Now, try that on, like, have the sprint race as something that happens on the Friday. Yeah. Try that stuff in the sprint. Like, this weekend, the sprint, we're not using DRS at all in the sprint. And then you've got a bit of what DRS actually does. And then the next one where the sprint is, you're like, say it's at Monza, and you've got open DRS.
Yeah.
You can use DRS flat out wherever you want the whole race and trial different things like that and see how it goes.
What about no front and rear wings in the sprint races?
Well,
just absolute bullets down the straights.
Yeah.
Can't make it around corners.
let the ground effects do all the work.
Yeah.
But you could do things like that. It doesn't affect the actual race at all.
Yeah.
And it also gives a bit of a point of difference, a talking point for the sprint. As I said, at the moment, you have 2 qualifying sessions that, for all intents and purposes, are exactly the fucking same.
Yeah.
So when you watch the Friday qualifying for the sprint, of the Friday qualifying for the race, why would you bother watching the sprint qualifying? Because it's the same.
Yeah.
No, and then it's a different event, Dave, which is exciting something or other.
Hang on,
and then the sprint's like the first 30% of the race.
Yeah. This is why I don't watch Fiat Supercars at Australian Grand Prix, because there's like 17 qualifying sessions and then 48 races.
Which does what really disappoints me with that though as well. Like you have on Thursday you have 2 qualifying sessions that are for races Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
And then Friday you have 2 qualifying sessions for Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
But then you have the qualifying, and then you on the Friday you have qualifying, and then you have the race that the grid was set the day before, but you've had 2 qualifying sessions in between. And you're like, I can't follow. Like, have a qualifying a race each day or do something different for that weekend.
I like Max's idea, reverse order. But then, you know what will happen? Max will suddenly have problems in the engine. Oh, no, I have to finish starting first for the sprint. Oh, it's a race to become 10th.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it's reverse championship order, at least that means you don't get that kind of odd sandbagging for a weekend.
Yeah.
And because the sprints aren't every weekend, you do get a bit of a championship picture as long as the sprint isn't in that first couple of weekends.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at everyone's favourite Kiwi IndyCar driver,
SVG?
Marcus Armstrong.
Marcus Armstrong, yeah.
Yeah. And he won 3 sprint races in F2, but no main races, which could just mean that he qualified 10th for the race and started in first, because they do reverse top 10.
Yeah.
So he could have just started it in pole in the sprint race and just held the lead for 15 laps, whatever it is, which doesn't really show you that he's
IndyCar material.
Yeah. He's still doing all right, but...
It's funny with Armstrong, though. Like, he's impressed this year, but you've also got to put in the fact that he's driving for the best team.
But he
hasn't had a result.
No. Like people have been comparing him to the other rookies. And Augustine's the closest. Marcus hasn't done the ovals, but Augustine's also in a hell of a lot shitter car and doesn't come from an open wheel background.
Yeah. Like Canapino's probably been more impressive this year when you consider he's like when you more compare Canapino's first year to Scott McLaughlin and Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
They're a more fair level, except they were in the two best teams, where Canapino's in essentially the worst team.
Yeah. God, I really hope they get their shit together. Junkos. They seem to be doing all right in NXT.
Yeah, the big issue that they've got at the moment is because Argentina were pumping in money for Canapino, and I think Argentina's in financial trouble.
Yeah.
So but they did have an actual sponsor that last weekend that I think's carrying for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Jamie Chadwick in Indy.
Yeah, how's she doing?
She had her best result. She's had a couple of top 10s now. I think she had a top 10 in her first oval race at
okay.
Iowa? Was it Iowa?
No. Iowa.
That was the last oval. Yeah. So I think she had a top 10 in that. The last race they got rained out because in qualifying it was just rain was too much. So I think they started on points position in the series at the moment. So I think she started 16th or 18th or something, and finished 8th in the race, which was decent. Yeah. So she seems to be getting a bit more used to it now.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so it's good to see her. Hopefully she'll move up. She's in a shit hot team, so.
Yeah, but I don't think Andretti's as strong, are they? Because it's all HMD leading the championship now.
Yeah, they're not as strong, but it was good to see her actually making some progress, and hopefully she'll go somewhere. But there's a Kiwi in that, McElroy, who he's got a good chance of moving up to IndyCar next year, so it could be four Kiwis in there.
You reckon Hunter will make the jump next year?
Maybe. He's pretty close. He's pretty close.
I'm trying to think where the seats that are available, though, because you still got Lundqvist.
Yeah.
That's out of a seat. So.
Man, I was so disappointed about him putting into the wall near the end of the race.
But I think he did pretty well considering.
Yeah, he did fantastic. Oh, you weren't here when we what was the race with the other Vist, Blomqvist?
Oh yeah,
I thought he did really well in qualifying,
considering
he come from a non-open wheeler background. It was pissing down rain.
Yeah, and it's difficult.
Track. I kind of wish he actually got a chance to do something in the race instead of getting punted off in the first corner. But, Yeah.
I think if he got another shot this year, you'd probably see especially if it was like Indy Road Course or Portland.
They mentioned who's racing this week. Who's
Lundqvist again?
Okay.
I heard Max is racing this week as well. He's just entered for.
That would be awesome to see.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll give Meyer.
Did we actually talk about Kirkwood winning?
Kirkwood? No.
Did you listen to that other thing we listened to?
The Screaming Meals, or
no, the other one, the Hinchcliffe Rossi.
Oh yeah, because they interviewed him, didn't they?
Yeah.
Interviews really well as well.
Yeah, but he was saying he's only had 2 top 5s, and both of them have been wins.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
That's the Andretti way.
Yeah, true.
He's the lead Andretti driver in the championship now, though, as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like
the others are
that's
horrible.
Yeah, I get the impression that Grosjean might be on the way out. Devlin's gone.
Yeah, he won't be there.
They have a sponsor for that car next year. So
yeah, who do you know?
I don't know, but it will be for. maybe.
Maybe?
It will be 4 paid drivers
Oh wow.
in an Andretti. Yeah, they won't have
Yeah, so
the ride buyer in the 4th car.
okay. Yeah, Kirkwood is leading by 5 points over Colton.
Which, when you consider Colton's on massive money
Yeah,
for IndyCar.
yeah. But Christian Lundgaard's 8th in a RLL.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Considering that car is 90% of the time horrible.
Which I suppose the unfortunate thing for him probably is that I think he's on a longish contract with Rahal.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, by longish, I think he signed a 3 years, so he's still got another year to go on it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting year.
Well, other than Pelot, you haven't had that consistency from.
Yeah.
Like, even Newgarden's year, he's been dynamite on the ovals, but he hasn't really fired on the street circuits.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. McLaughlin's had a few stinkers.
Yeah. Will Powers had a stinker considering he won last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been horrible.
It's the Will way.
Yeah.
But yeah, Newgarden's catching up though. Palau's on 513 points. Joseph's on 429. And Scott's 387.
Yeah.
I think that's only half a race. Don't you get like 800 points for just showing up and having a 4 times?
Pretty much.
Well, it's 50. So I think there's 216 points to go, and he's got a 109 point lead or something.
Yeah. No, it's I don't know maths. No, it's less than that.
Okay.
Yeah, hang on.
No, not much. It's around that 100. And then I think
84.
Oh, it's a bit closer than what I thought.
Yeah, it's closed up a bit. Yeah, Scott Dixon's still fairly close.
Dixon's fairly out of it though. He's 126 points off.
Yeah,
I think.
about that. A bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, 126 exactly.
But I think if you did the maths, like Pelot probably only has to finish 15th in each of the races remaining to wrap it up now.
Yeah, you'd have to have a pretty bad couple of races. I actually don't like Pelot that much. I don't know why.
It's funny. I really.
Yeah, true.
I mean, the amount of people Rob likes, you could fit on wait, who do you like? Yuki, Oscar.
But I've been an Oscar fan for a long time though. Like I've been praising him for the last 4 years, and telling everyone he was going to be
jump on the bandwagon now, like me.
Yeah, Oscar, get the hat now. You can unstitch your Dan hat and stitch on Oscar's name.
I actually don't have a Dan hat.
Oh, I'm surprised you don't have all the Dan hats.
Yeah. I've got a.
I've been going to all the protests about Dan. Like, screw Dan, dictator Dan Ricciardo. Down with Dan. I don't know why all these people hate Dan Ricciardo though.
Yeah.
Did you go to these, Rob, and be like, I'm so surprised they're like-minded people like me?
Why is this guy wearing a Yuki Tsunoda hat?
Yeah, with Dan, with Yuki. Of the top 10 in IndyCar at the moment, I do like 2.5, 3.5, maybe. I like Pato. He's half.
Yeah.
Pato I like.
See, I've gone off Pato a bit this year.
Yeah, he's annoyed me a bit this year. It's been hard to like this year. I like Willpower and Colton Herta.
Well, Willpower's got a cool name.
What about Rossi?
What about Stingray?
Rossi's 11.
Stingray.
I do not like Stingray. Anyone who has a Jesus fish on the side of the car doesn't deserve my praise.
I think if I was walking down the street,
yeah,
and Stingray was walking the other way,
yeah,
I wouldn't recognise him.
I probably would because he's got a weird long doofus head.
Yeah, like I can when I really have to think about it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what he looks like. But I think if I was, and I reckon probably if you took the Indy 500 field, every other driver this year, if you walk past them in the street, you'd be like, hey, that's Felix Rosenquist, or that's Kalum Ilott or whatever. Whereas I think you just keep walking. Like they wouldn't be like, hey, that's old mate Stingray Bob.
Do you reckon Benjamin Pedersen has a
you mean
driver?
Actually, Benjamin Pedersen I would not recognise. I can't even picture what he looks like.
I can.
It's everyone's favourite.
Other than a fucking speed hump.
Yeah. I kind of feel bad for him, but I kind of want him to be out of the series and have someone who can drive in there.
What's funny is though, like those cars were so competitive at Indy, and I can't remember if he got in the Fast 9 or he was really close.
Yeah,
and then like they go to Iowa.
Ferrucci was what, third?
Third, yeah, he was front row.
Yeah,
he was genuinely like in the fight. He was in the front pack all day.
Yeah, and he finished top 10,
fifth, I think
5. Yeah.
I think it was a fairly high finish
because he was almost up there for a win at one point, until the last red flag or something. Yeah.
He was genuinely in the fight there. It was just they weren't quite on that Ganassi.
I don't think he was. Yeah, I don't think he was on the pedal enough really at the restart. Yeah.
Yeah. But then they go to Iowa and. Yeah, Pedersen gets told, please park the car because you're too slow.
Yeah.
Did they say it tactfully, Dave, or was it literally just pull over?
It's funny because the car retired on the telecast and there was nothing said about it.
Yeah.
And normally, it'd be like, maybe Pedersen's broken down or whatever. But there was nothing about that he'd got a black flag or whatever. Like it was just kept real quiet, and then it was only like later on the next week, and someone, it might have even been on Speed Street podcast, they said about it, and then you went like searching for it, and you're like, they weren't just taking the piss. He did actually get black flagged for being too slow.
It's not something you really want to talk to people about.
No, it's not a selling point if you're going to negotiate with other teams.
No, not at all.
No, I got the black flag because I'm a pirate. And that's what I do.
That was too fast for him.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called the Max Verstappen rule. Basically, I'm too good, and everyone's angry at me, and they gave me a black flag to basically slow down because I was so far in front.
Yeah.
I don't know how you are so competitive at Indy to then being like nowhere in I don't know what, because that was an absolute shit show.
But that's just the same as the RLL cars. Like, they were struggling to qualify for Indy, and what's his name? Lundegaard's won a race now. And
but that's. Yeah, but that was they were still pretty ordinary at Iowa. On ovals, they're still, fairly lost.
But Iowa was a lot different to Indy, though.
Yeah, but you still,
How were they at Texas?
They were pretty bad at Texas because I think they stayed at Texas and did a test day so that they would be better for Indy. And then they were actually worse.
Was it the second race? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Who's races for him? Jack Harvey, 19th.
Do you call
23rd.
it racing what they're doing on an oval
Yeah.
at RLL?
No.
It's
Um,
turning up and
yeah, true.
yeah.
Well, Stingray Rob beat Cole Kirkwood there. I think maybe Stingray may have taken out Kirkwood and rolled in front of him to get a higher place. Yeah. Yeah. But Alexander Rossi was the last running car. Yeah, that was a.
He's another curler.
I actually really like that Texas race. They're just the last 20 laps of Joseph and Pato, like side by side. Just like I think they even touched at one point, just a little gentle touch, but they were like so close. And even watching the replay in the drive to IndyCar Survive, they played a bunch of the replay, and I'm still sitting there just like excited watching it.
Yeah,
it was so good.
Yeah.
Did you watch all of that? Have you watched all of the drive to? What'd you think?
It was good for what it was.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to tell the stories in 6 half-hour episodes.
Yeah. Well, I think next year they're supposedly changing it up. It's not just going to be the Road to IndyCar or the Indianapolis. It's going to be more other stuff. So I really do hope they show a bit more of the background. I hope they do like a day in the life of someone going to an IndyCar race and show them what it's actually like in the crowds with the people, in the places where everyone parties and stuff. I reckon that would be a good show.
Oh, what are they called? The tailgate parties.
Yeah. Because there was, I heard someone tell a story of they were talking to someone at the Indianapolis 500 in the, I can't remember what it's called, where they all party, Snake Pit. And they asked them, who they thought was going to win, and they're like, "Man, I've been coming here for 25 years, and I still haven't seen a car race." All right then.
Yeah. But that's what it's like.
Yeah.
In that,
but I want to get to a race next year. We need to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too bad there isn't any local ones. Yet. I think we're probably aiming. What's next year? 24. We're probably 24? Aiming about 26 in 500 now.
Really?
I reckon. Yeah.
For like backseat drivers to go as a group, or
no? Well, me.
You and the missus.
Me and my wife.
Oh, when were you going to tell us this, Dave? We were getting all excited. It would be
if backseat drivers is making enough money by then.
How many people we got watching at the moment? 4. So
yeah,
me, you, Boovy. We lost Max and Jared.
No. Well, I'm not watching.
Oh.
I see it. I'm hearing it live.
I barely watch when I'm here.
I did zone out at the start. I think he's just talking band things or something. I don't know. We got anything else in the notes? Oh, actually, I wanted to ask, since we're coming up to silly season, what? Give me your one bold prediction that's going to happen between now and our next meeting here. That's going to happen part of the silly season.
Oh, I have a long-term silly one.
No, it has to happen between now and next week.
Oh,
I'd like to hit the long-term one.
No, my long-term one is what's her name? Hannah is running a smaller team by 2026.
Ooh, hang on, but she's just a strategist.
Yeah, but
they need more. Actually, she should probably go to fucking Haas. They can't even get the drivers out to qualify.
She'll be one of those top Red Bull people that a crappy little team will be like, we need someone that knows what she's doing.
Imagine if we had strategy.
Yeah. Imagine Ferrari's looking at her, and then they basically look at her, and then they look at their team and like, why are you not even 1/5 of what she does? Notice that she carries herself around with an air of confidence, like she knows what she's doing. And then they go back to Ferrari, and he's like, I don't know, I got 4 tires here. Oh wait, 3. Oh no, wait, 5. Oh, you know what? Come back to me. I'll get the tire situation sorted later.
What is it? We are checking.
Yes. Do you have the car here? We are checking. Do you know where Carlos is? We are checking.
When do you reckon Ferrari are going to start asking Carlos for advice on what they should do for
haven't they already started?
Leclerc? No, asking for what they should do for Leclerc.
Yeah.
Carlos, Leclerc's thinking about coming in for tyres, should he? Yes.
And he just replies back, we are checking.
Dave, have you got a wild prediction for me?
Well, it won't happen. I mean, it's not a wild prediction because it's going to happen. So,
what's your wild?
Well, we all know that Checo's getting replaced.
Dave, your internet's cut out. We can't hear you. All right, so that's your prediction.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think whether I don't think we're going to have any big swings at the moment, and I think some of the teams are going to go very safe and boring. Like,
mine's gonna be Stroll's contract won't be renewed.
Yeah, well, what was ridiculous was that I've heard people suggesting that Hülkenberg's in line for that seat.
What?
Oh, he was their reserve driver.
Yeah, but...
And I reckon he'll do a better job than Stroll. Well, I don't know. Like, his qualifying has been amazing when they get him out on time.
Yeah, but then he goes backwards in the race. Yeah.
But
whereas Magnussen qualifies shit and goes forwards in the race.
Yeah.
I like without Checo would be a better.
Well, Yuki will be there in 2026.
Yeah. Put Yuki in there. At least there's, with Hülkenberg, you're essentially accepting.
God, it's the retirement village.
Yeah. That's it. And there's no long term.
I think Danny Stroll's still trying to get his what is it? Order of Britain, his knighthood or something.
Get in the car.
Yeah. Dave, he created over 1 billion jobs for England. He should practically be the king.
Hey, Max is here.
Yeah.
I was not watching this. Thanks, Max.
At least someone's paying attention.
Okay, I keep zoning out. It's been like nearly an hour and a half. Should we?
So is it bedtime?
Yeah, it was bedtime like 4 hours ago.
Okay. All right, let's call bedtime then.
All right, our bed, your bed, or mine?
Oh, we'll all have a cuddle.
We'll all get together.
Yeah.
What everyone doesn't know is we all sleep in one big backseat driver's bed.
Are we all going to get into one bed and watch Vegas and have cheese?
Damn straight.
Oh, yeah.
No cheese farts in the bed.
Cheesy bed.
Cheesy night at Rob's.
Yeah. No crackers in the bed, all right?
Everyone's invited.
Yeah.
That's big enough.
Rob's address is 123 Anywhere Lane, Fake Town.
It's had enough people in there as it is.
I think we've done right.
All right. Matt has to go put his bins out.
Yeah. Good night, everyone. We'll see you next week.
When Lance has lost his